or is still something you wanted to respond to what Professor had
yes.
said? But before that, allow me to ask you a question, then you can continue with both. Now, what will the role of Parliament be in such an instance? Because yes, despite the fact that he's addressing the House, he's addressing the nation. So there could be confusion among Kenyans. As a former member of the National Assembly, kindly explain to us what the role of
the President will not just be addressing the nation. It is only that the Parliament of Kenya transmits its proceedings live. And so Kenyans will be privileged to follow the proceedings. The President will be addressing Parliament, will be tabling various reports as per the Constitution. And
but according to the provisions of the law that I read, is that he will report in an address to the nation, not to Parliament. An address to the nation. The address to Parliament is already provided for. That address, a special sitting of Parliament once every year, and may address Parliament at any other time. But he will address the nation on all measures taken, blah, 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 then submit a report for debate in the National Assembly.
I think that our debating how we understand is a different thing, but you see...
Because the framers of the Constitution have their own plan for the State of the Nation
President will address Parliament, and the tradition of Parliament is that it is televised live to Kenyans. So the whole event will be televised to Kenyans and the world. It will be an open process. But what is important is what the President is doing, and it's accounting to the nation. It's a moment of accounting. And as was stated, our Constitution was very progressive. You cannot have a president who sits at State House, you don't know what is happening. He has no obligation, no responsibility, like we saw in one country in Africa where a president was elected, and after election, he has gone for holiday for the next 5 years and cannot account to the people. That is not what was designed in Kenya. The architecture of our Constitution is such that the President is accountable to the people. And Fred Ogola and the rest of the groups are right to ask hard questions. And the President is alive to that. And of course, this is one of the most ambitious and hardworking president who has a good plan for the country. And if I touch one area that Fred has talked about, that is the production economy. In this country, promoting the production sector of the economy had diminished. And the agenda of the president is reinvigorating the production sector of the economy. And that's a fact for sure. He has talked about enhancing manufacturing value addition of our goods and swift movement of our goods and accessing markets, adding value to our tea so that we don't export some of our products raw, adding value to coffee, adding value to everything, what we produce, so that then the economy can be strong. And that cannot be done. Production cannot succeed without the requisite infrastructure. When you talk of dual-lane roads from Rironi to all the way to Malaba, dual-lane up to Kisumu, dual-lane up to Mombasa, and dual-lane the rest of the networks, that is allowing free and swift and fast movement of goods. When you talk about expanding the rail infrastructure, when you talk about expanding the power infrastructure, and we have seen still this country serves a risk of power deficit if the country goes full scale in terms of production and industrialization. When you talk about expanding ICT infrastructure, this is a digitally driven economy. It's a requirement. When you talk about housing infrastructure, of course, there are over 170 sites of affordable housing in the country. It would also go with water infrastructure, overhauling the airport, and now there's a proposal even to combine the Kenya Airways and the Kenya Airports Authority and expand our airports. That looking at infrastructure in details in that manner, so that we can live to the first world by 2025. There's a disconnect.
There's a disconnect, and I hear you, and you make very reasonable comments there.
Because when you're talking about...
My problem is a disconnect, and back to the question I asked earlier. Today, should we expect the president to simply outline some of the